All right, the last example of chapter 3 actually says, when Luan saw the bad men, it was high noon. So what I'm going to do is draw a clock. High noon means that everything, big hand and little hand, are pointing at noon, or 12. When she caught them, the hands on the clock made a 90-degree angle. So what time was it? So what I'm going to do is draw another one. Now the little hand moves slower than the big hand, so I'm going to say the little hand was here and the big hand is here. That's where the 90 degrees comes in. And so they want to know what time it was. Now the little hand is going to move, but at the same time the big hand, the big hand is moving all the way around, but the little hand is also moving. So let's look at the spaces of the big hand moves. The big hand. All right, it moves one space per minute. Okay? So that's the big hand. Now let's look at the little hand. The little hand, it actually moves how many spaces? What do you think? Well, it moves 5 spaces in 60 minutes. In other words, to go from 12 over to the 1, these are 5 minutes, so 5 spaces in the 60 minutes. So now what I have is, this is what the big hand does, the rate, and this is what the little hand does, and these are rates. Okay? So now what I want to know is that for it to have gone 90 degrees apart, this has to be 15 spaces. Or you could call it 15 minutes. And so now what we want to do is we want to find out how that, how it works. So what we have here is the space of the big hand is 1 times the time. The space of the little hand is the rate times the time. We know we ended up with we ended up with 15 spaces. So let's see. We've got that the big hand, it moves further than the little hand. So we're going to say 1t minus the little hand, and this equals 15 spaces. And we have to find how many minutes went past. Okay? So now we have 11 over 12t equals 15. Solve for t. And when we get that, it's 180 over 11 minutes. Well, if it started at 12, let's see. 11 goes into that 16 and 4/11 minutes. So what that means is that the time on the clock is going to be 12 noon plus that many minutes. So at 12:16 and 4:11 p.m. is when the hands are exactly 90 degrees apart.